Carly shocks Port Charles. Valentine panics as a dangerous secret blows wide open. The next 3 weeks on General Hospital from May 4 to May 22 look like they could be absolutely brutal for Carly, Valentine, and honestly, half of Port Charles. The biggest mess on the table? Carly and Valentine may finally be exposed, and once Brennan steps in, this whole situation could go from secret problem to full-blown legal nightmare real quick. I think this is where the show starts tightening the screws. Valentine could possibly be arrested. Carly could be accused of acting as an accomplice, and Sonny may have to decide just how far he is willing to go to protect his ex-wife. And yeah, I know Carly always finds a way to land on her feet, but this time, I'm not so sure it'll be that easy. Carly starts a new survival game. Carly has been in hot water before, but this feels different because Brennan is not the kind of man who just makes empty threats. If Carly and Valentine really are exposed, then Brennan may finally have the opening he has been waiting for. My take is he does not just want Valentine. He may want to make an example out of Carly too. That's where things get messy. Valentine could possibly be taken into custody, especially if Brennan has enough evidence to connect him to whatever scheme has been running behind the scenes. But Carly's problem is worse, in a different way. If authorities believe she helped Valentine, protected him, or kept key information hidden, then she could be painted as an accomplice. And listen, I'm not buying the idea that Carly will just sit there and let herself get steamrolled. That is not Carly. She will push back, argue, deny, bargain, and probably make Brennan regret underestimating her. But the danger here is that Carly may not have the full picture. If Valentine has been keeping secrets from her, or if Brennan has proof she does not know about, she could be walking straight into a trap. This is also where Sonny may come in. It seems likely that someone tries to save Carly, and Sonny is the obvious guess. He and Carly may not be married anymore, but Sonny has always had a soft spot for her. When Carly is in real trouble, he usually cannot stay out of it. He may try to use his influence, his contacts, or even his old-school Port Charles power to pull her back from the edge. But here's why I don't fully buy a clean rescue. Sonny has his own problems, and Brennan is not some random street punk. Sonny can scare off with a look. If Sonny moves too aggressively, he could make Carly's situation even worse. Jocelyn faces the consequences of being too close to the fire. As if Carly's crisis is not enough, Jocelyn may suddenly become a target too. The spoilers suggest Jocelyn could be attacked and kidnapped, and that immediately raises the stakes in a huge way. I think this is one of the more dangerous pieces of the next 3 weeks because Jocelyn is not just Carly's daughter, she is also someone Sonny cares about deeply. Even with all the complicated family drama, Sonny has always viewed Joss as part of his world. So if she disappears, he is not going to sit around waiting for the police to get their act together. Sonny may order a search and rescue mission, possibly sending Ethan to find her. Brick could also be involved, and honestly, either option makes sense. Ethan has the adventurous, off-the-grid energy for this kind of job. Brick, on the other hand, has the surveillance skills, contacts, and cool-headed approach Sonny would need if time is running out. My gut says Sonny may not care who gets it done as long as Jocelyn comes home alive. The big question is, who takes her? Cassius, the man pretending to be Nathan, seems like the most suspicious figure right now. He is already walking around with a fake identity, which is a huge red flag. If Jocelyn gets kidnapped around the same time Carly and Valentine's secrets explode, it may not be random. It could be a warning, a distraction, or part of a bigger play. Britt may also know more than she is letting on. There is a possibility that Britt realizes Cassius is connected to Jocelyn's disappearance and tries to talk him into stopping. But if that happens, I do not think it works. This part feels more likely than confirmed, but Cassius does not seem like the type who backs off just because someone tells him he has gone too far. And that makes Jocelyn's situation even scarier. A secret could blow up Dante's family. Now let's talk about Rocco, because this may be one of the most emotional storylines coming, Rocco may possibly confess to Dante that he shot Cullum and that Jason has been taking the blame this entire time. If that is true, then wow, that is not just a twist. That is a gut punch. Dante would be in an impossible position. He is a cop, so legally and morally, he knows what should happen, but he is also Rocco's father. That changes everything. You can already picture him standing there trying to process that his own child may have been involved in something this serious while Jason carried the weight for it. I think Dante's conflict could be one of the strongest parts of these May episodes. He is not a crooked cop, and he does not like covering things up. But when your kid is on the line, everything gets personal. The badge starts to feel heavier. Lulu will likely fight like hell to keep Rocco out of prison. And honestly, can you blame her? She may not care about procedure, optics, or what the law says in that moment. She will be focused on protecting her son. I can see her begging Dante not to destroy Rocco's future, especially if she believes the situation was more complicated than it looks. But Jason's role is also huge here. If Jason has really been taking the fall, then his silence says a lot. He may have been protecting Rocco, Dante, Lulu, or all of them. That is classic Jason, but it also puts everyone else in a rough spot once the truth starts leaking out. My take is this secret cannot stay buried much longer. Which relationship falls apart first? The romantic drama may be just as wild as the crime drama, especially with Willow, Chase, Brooklyn, and Michael. Willow and Chase may get dangerously close again, possibly even sleeping together in secret. I want to be careful here because this is still in possibly territory, not confirmed. But if it happens, Brooklyn finding out would be explosive. Brooklyn discovering that Chase may have betrayed her with his ex-girlfriend would be ugly. And let's be real, Brooklyn does not do quiet heartbreak. She gets hurt. She gets furious. And then she starts swinging emotionally. If she thinks Chase cheated with Willow, that marriage could crack wide open. But here's where I think the story gets even more twisted. Michael may have planned this. If Michael is pushing pieces around the board to get revenge, then that changes the whole vibe. This would not just be a messy love triangle. It would be manipulation. Michael may be trying to punish people who hurt him, embarrass them, or expose their weaknesses. I'm not saying Michael is definitely behind every move, but it sure seems like he may have started a revenge plan. And if that is true, he is playing a dangerous game. Revenge in Port Charles never stays clean. Someone always gets hurt, worse than expected. Brooklyn may also have another secret problem. Curtis tells Jordan that Isaiah could be the main suspect in the hit-and-run case, and Curtis seems convinced enough to want a lawyer involved in investigating and possibly going after Isaiah legally. But this is where guilt enters the room. Someone may feel guilty, possibly Tracy or Brooklyn. Tracy may be trying to cover for Brooklyn, or at least protect her from being dragged into something awful. It is not completely clear whether Brooklyn caused the accident, but she was apparently drunk that night and feels guilty. That alone is enough to make me suspicious. Still, I'm not ready to fully convict Brooklyn in my head. Feeling guilty does not always mean someone did the worst thing. Maybe she saw something. Maybe she thinks she caused it. Maybe Tracy knows more than she is saying. Either way, this could blow up right when Brooklyn's marriage is already on shaky ground. That is a bad combo. Predictions for the events of these 3 weeks? Looking beyond the immediate chaos, I think Windermere becomes a major danger zone. Lucas may discover that Jocelyn is at Windermere, or more specifically, that she could be held captive there. If Lucas tries to rescue her, that is brave, but also reckless as hell. Windermere is not exactly a safe place to play hero, especially if Sidwell, Pascal, or Cassius is involved. I hate to say it, but Lucas could end up in serious danger. If he is caught snooping around or trying to get Jocelyn out, his odds do not look great. This does not mean he will die, but the risk is real. My take is that Lucas may become the unexpected witness who sees too much. Anna's storyline may also heat up when she receives a visitor who previously came to see her in France. This guest seems likely to bring useful information, and I think Anna will need every bit of it. She is one of the few people who can connect the dots without panicking, and if Brennan, Valentine, Cassius, and Jocelyn's kidnapping are all tangled together, Anna could be key to breaking the case open. Then there is Joe. Joe's arrival in town feels important, even if we do not know exactly why yet. He seems connected to a major storyline, and one theory is that he could step into a role close to Sonny. Maybe not replacing Jason completely, because, come on, Jason is Jason. But Joe could possibly become a new right-hand man or a fresh player in Sonny's orbit. I'm not fully sold on Joe replacing Jason, though. Sonny does not trust easily, and Jason's loyalty cannot just be duplicated by some new guy walking into town. But Joe could still shake things up. Maybe he is useful. Maybe he is dangerous. Maybe he is both. So, from May 4 to May 22, I think the biggest theme is exposure. Carly and Valentine may be exposed. Rocco's secret may come out. Brooklyn's guilt may surface. Jocelyn's location may be discovered. And once secrets start popping in Port Charles, no